Fiqh is not fiction. Fiqh is something that is a human attempt at understanding what God meant. One of the great scholars of Islam, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, wrote a famous book, Alam al-Muwaqqi'een. The muwaqqa' is the one who signs in the name of. And what he said is a mufti is essentially acting in proxy for the Lord of the world. And so he has to be scared, he has to be careful at what he does and what he says. We have a crisis in fatwa. We have Sheikh Google giving fatwa, Sheikh Blink giving fatwa, all of these search engines now where people get fatwas. We have also too simplistic statements being made in public forums. Fiqh is a very complicated affair. It's not something that can be reduced to sound bites. The ahkam of Islam are subtle, and they're also closer to homeopathy than allopathy, that there's not one answer for every person. Homeopathy looks at the individual. Chinese medicine looks at the individual. You might have too much heat. You might have too much dampness. So they'll give you different herbs than they would give another person. Like the man who asked the mufti, is it okay to smoke when I'm praying? He's making dua. He said no. And then another man said, is it okay to make dua if I'm smoking? He said yes. His student said, what are you doing? He said, well, the one man, he's in dhikr and he wants to go to ghafla. So I said, don't do it. But the other man, he's in ghafla and he wants to go to dhikr, so I said, do it. It's a different understanding. So it's important for us to recognize that fiqh is a human project. The Shariah is from God. Fiqh is the human understanding of Shariah. And the Prophet, we don't have a theocracy. That is an alien concept in Islam. We do not have a theocracy, because humans will always apply the rulings. And the ruling of God, you never know what it is in a certain... It might be a capital offense in fiqh, but with the ruling of God, it's not. The best thing to do would be to forgive. So you don't know what the ruling of God is. So you cannot have a theocracy in Islam. You can only have a nomocracy, which is a rule of law, and law is a human project. We've been given a constitution from God that we call the Quran, the Dastur, and the Hadith. These are the constitutional principles of law, and there are very few things that are fixed in stone. And Sayyidina Umar, he suspended had punishment. We know this in Amr Ramada. And this is called fiqh al-waqi' wa tawaqqa'. This is what Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayy says. And one of the most important things in fiqh, you have tanqih al-manat, tahqiq al-manat, takhrij al-manat. There's a process of understanding when a ruling is applicable, and it's an usuli process that needs trained people to do it. But one of the most important elements is tahqiq al-manat, which is when understanding what a thing is, what is the tasawwur of a thing, the situation, and then what is the appropriate ruling that is for that situation. That takes a lot of time, practice, mentorship with skilled people.